The Awakening. Xander opened his eyes to a world he didn't recognize. The sterile white ceiling above him bore no resemblance to his bedroom's familiar popcorn texture. As consciousness crept back, panic followed. This wasn't his world at all. The last thing he remembered was the explosion at the research facility. He had been working late, running diagnostics on the quantum stabilization matrix when the alarms started blaring. Now, he found himself in what appeared to be a medieval healing ward, complete with stone walls and the scent of herbal remedies. "Ah, you're finally awake." An elderly man in robes approached his bedside, holding what appeared to be a glowing crystal. "We weren't sure you'd survive the summoning ritual. Most otherworlders don't." Xander's scientific mind immediately began processing this information. Otherworlder. Summoning ritual. The implications were staggering, but before he could fully grasp them, he noticed something else, a translucent blue window hovering in his field of vision. Status window. Name, Xander Mitchell. Level, 1. Classes. Artificer, Level 1. Engineer, Level 1. Demolitionist, Level 1. Special ability, Heaven's Bounty. Titles, none. What is this? Xander reached out to touch the window, his hand passing through it like mist. The elderly man, who introduced himself as Magister thus, explained that Xander had been summoned to their world of Aridad as part of an ancient ritual meant to bring forth heroes during times of crisis. The floating windows were part of the world's natural system, a method of quantifying and tracking personal growth and abilities. "Your arrival was different though," thus mused, stroking his gray beard. "Most summoned heroes arrive with combat classes, warriors, mages, that sort of thing. You're the first I've seen with such unique classifications." Over the next few days, as Xander recovered his strength, he began to understand his new reality. His engineering knowledge had somehow been translated into this world's system of classes and skills. But it was his special ability, Heaven's Bounty, that truly set him apart. He discovered it by accident while examining some broken equipment in the healing ward. As his hands passed over the debris, a warm golden light emanated from his palms, and the broken pieces began to reform, not into their original shape, but into something entirely new and improved. Heaven's Bounty has created an object, mana-infused diagnostic tool. This tool allows the user to detect irregularities in mana flow and structural integrity. Thus was amazed. Extraordinary. You're not just creating items, you're transforming them into something more advanced, combining your world's knowledge with our world's magic. But Xander's arrival hadn't gone unnoticed. Word spread quickly through the city of Klimp about the strange otherworlder who could create mysterious artifacts. Some saw him as a valuable asset, others as a potential threat. The local adventurers guild took particular interest, seeing the potential advantages of having someone who could create powerful items on their side. Guild Master Lorraine, a stern woman with battle scars and calculating eyes, made Xander an offer he couldn't refuse: join the guild as a registered artificer, and receive their protection and resources in exchange for his services. "You need to understand your position," she explained, her voice firm but not unkind. "In this world, power attracts attention, both wanted and unwanted. The guild can help you develop your abilities safely, while ensuring you're not exploited by less scrupulous individuals." Xander agreed, seeing the wisdom in her words. He needed to understand this new world, and the guild offered the best opportunity to do so while developing his unique abilities. His first test came sooner than expected. A group of mercenaries requested his assistance with what seemed like a routine mission, clearing out some aggressive wildlife from a nearby trade route. But as Xander would soon discover, nothing in this world was quite as simple as it appeared. The mission introduced him to 3 mercenaries who would change the course of his new life: Graphus, a shield-bearing dwarf with an infectious laugh; Atrax, a fire mage with a penchant for explosive solutions; and Frey, an archer whose precision with a bow bordered on supernatural. As they ventured into the wilderness, Xander's status window pinged with new information. Class: Artificer has gained a level. New skill acquired: Rapid Assembly, increase creation speed by 25% when under pressure. He was beginning to understand that in this world, growth came not just from practice, but from facing real challenges. And as he looked at the determined faces of his new companions, Xander realized that perhaps being summoned to this strange world wasn't the disaster he had initially thought. Little did he know, his ability to create and transform items would soon be tested in ways he never imagined. The simple mission they had undertaken was about to reveal a threat that would require all of Xander's ingenuity, and his newfound allies' skills, to overcome. As they made camp that first night, Xander stayed awake long after the others had fallen asleep, his mind racing with possibilities. In his hands, he turned over a small crystal he had transformed earlier that day, watching as it pulsed with a soft blue light. In this new world of magic and monsters, perhaps his scientific knowledge wasn't as out of place as he had first feared. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for the first time since arriving in this world, Xander felt ready to face them. After all, he had something neither his old world or this new one had seen before, the perfect fusion of science and magic, embodied in his unique ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. As he finally drifted off to sleep, his status window flickered with one final update. Title earned: Pioneer of the Unknown. Effect: slight increase to the effectiveness of newly created items. The journey was just beginning, and Xander Mitchell, the combat artificer from another world, was about to make his mark on the realm of Aridad in ways that would reshape its very foundation. The first trial. The morning brought with it the first real test of Xander's abilities. What had been reported as aggressive wildlife turned out to be something far more concerning: organized bands of goblins using crude but effective weaponry. "These aren't normal goblin tactics," Graphus growled, his shield raised as they observed the encampment from a safe distance. "Someone's been teaching them military formations." Xander's engineering mind quickly analyzed the situation. The goblins had constructed defensive positions with surprising efficiency, complete with overlapping fields of fire for their crude crossbows. This wasn't just a random monster encounter, it was a calculated military operation. New skill acquired: Tactical Analysis. Effect: increased ability to identify weaknesses in enemy formations and structures. "I might have something that could help," Xander said, his hands already beginning to glow with the familiar golden light of Heaven's bounty. He gathered some discarded weapons and armor from previous unfortunate travelers, letting his ability transform them. Heaven's bounty has created an object, Resonance Disruptor. This device creates harmonic frequencies that destabilize structured formations. The device looked like a cross between a tuning fork and a Tesla coil, humming with barely contained energy. Atrax eyed it with professional interest. "Fascinating. The mana flow patterns are unlike anything I've seen before." Their plan was simple but effective. Frey would provide covering fire while Graphus drew attention with his shield wall. Atrax's fire magic would create chaos, and Xander would deploy his resonance disruptor at the critical moment. The battle that followed was unlike anything Xander had experienced. The resonance disruptor worked better than expected, its harmonic frequencies causing the goblins to lose coordination and break formation. But it was what happened next that truly changed everything. As Xander moved through the aftermath of the battle, Heaven's bounty activated automatically, transforming the remains of the goblin weapons and armor into something entirely new. Heaven's bounty has created multiple objects. Skull Mask enhances threat detection. Shield Hammer amplifies shield-based abilities. Productive Bow generates ethereal arrows. Firebrand's War Staff increases fire spell potency. Each item seemed perfectly suited for one of his companions. The realization hit him: his ability wasn't just creating random items, it was analyzing the needs of his allies and creating tools specifically for them. "This changes everything," Atrax said, examining his new staff with wonder. With equipment like this, we could take on contracts that would normally be well beyond our capabilities. But the discovery of the organized goblin army led to more questions than answers. Who was coordinating them? Why were they being trained in military tactics? The answers would have to wait, as their success had attracted attention from higher up in the guild. Guild Master Lorraine summoned them upon their return to Klimp. "What you've discovered is concerning," she said, spreading out a map marked with similar goblin sightings. "This isn't an isolated incident. Someone or something is building an army, using goblins as their foot soldiers." The revelation came with an opportunity. The guild wanted their team to investigate further. But this would mean venturing into more dangerous territory, facing stronger opponents, and possibly uncovering conspiracies that powerful people wanted to keep hidden. For Xander, it was also a chance to further develop his abilities. Each battle, each creation, taught him more about the fusion of his world's scientific principles with this world's magic. His status window reflected his growth. Class: Artificer has reached level 5. New skill acquired: Adaptive Engineering. Effect: created items can now evolve based on combat experience. The implications were staggering. Not only could he create powerful items, but those items could grow and adapt alongside their users. It was a perfect fusion of his engineering background and the magical principles of this new world. His teammates had become more than just allies, they were now a well-oiled unit, each person's abilities complementing the others. Graphis's defensive prowess, Atrax's destructive magic, Frey's precision, and Xander's creations made them a force to be reckoned with. But with their growing reputation came growing dangers. News of Xander's unique abilities had spread beyond the guild, attracting attention from various factions. Some sought to recruit him, others to study him, and a few, he suspected, wanted to eliminate him as a potential threat. One evening, as they planned their next move in a private room at the guild hall, Frey brought troubling news. "There are rumors of other otherworlders being summoned," she said quietly. "Not all of them survived the transition, and those that did, some say they're being hunted." The information cast a dark shadow over their success. Was there a connection between these otherworlder disappearances and the organized goblin armies? And more importantly, what did it mean for Xander? As if in response to his concerns, his status window displayed a new notification. Title earned: Horde Breaker. Warning: multiple entities have marked your status for tracking. The message was clear: things were about to get more complicated. But as Xander looked around at his teammates, now equipped with his created items, he felt a surge of confidence. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The true test of their abilities, and their loyalty to each other, was approaching faster than any of them realized. The organized goblin armies were just the beginning, a small piece of a much larger and more dangerous puzzle that they had unwittingly begun to uncover. As night fell over Klimp, Xander worked late in his workshop, his hands glowing with heaven's bounty as he prepared for the challenges ahead. Something told him they would need every advantage they could get for what was coming. The hidden truth. The investigation into the organized goblin armies led Xander and his team to a disturbing discovery. In an abandoned underground laboratory, they found evidence that someone was experimenting with combining magic and technology in ways that seemed eerily familiar to Xander's own abilities. "These formulas," Xander muttered, examining faded scrolls with complex diagrams. "They're trying to reverse engineer the summoning ritual that brought me here." New skill acquired: Arcane Engineering Analysis. Effect: ability to understand and modify magical technological constructs. The laboratory contained failed attempts at creating items similar to those Xander could produce with heaven's bounty. But these creations were twisted, unstable, and dangerous. Several explosion marks on the walls testified to the volatile nature of these experiments. "Look at this," Atrax called, his firebrand's war staff illuminating a dark corner. There, they found a collection of crystals, each containing what appeared to be recorded memories. Using his new analysis skill, Xander was able to decode their contents. The recordings revealed a shadowy organization called the Convergence. Their goal was ambitious and terrifying. They sought to forcibly merge the technological advantages of other worlds with their own magical systems. The organized goblin armies were just test subjects for their enhanced weapons. Warning: detecting anomalous energy signatures. Heaven's Bounty has initiated defensive protocols. As if responding to the threat, Heaven's Bounty activated autonomously, transforming nearby materials into new defensive items. Heaven's Bounty has created multiple objects. Null Field Generator creates zones where foreign enhancement effects are neutralized. Mana Harmonizer stabilizes conflicting magical frequencies. Pattern Recognition Matrix identifies and tracks enhanced entities. This is bigger than we thought, Graphis said gravely, examining the Null Field Generator. We need to report this to the guild immediately. But when they returned to Klimp, they found the situation had already escalated. Other adventuring parties reported encounters with enhanced monsters across the region. These creatures showed signs of technological augmentation combined with magical enhancement, crude attempts to replicate what Heaven's Bounty could do naturally. Guild Master Lorraine called an emergency meeting. The Convergence isn't just experimenting anymore, she announced to the gathered adventurers. They're preparing for something big. We've detected massive energy fluctuations in the northern mountains. Xander's status window suddenly flashed with urgent notifications. Warning: multiple class resonance detected. Artificer level 8 has entered forced evolution state. New skill tree unlocked, Quantum Artificer. The evolution of his Artificer class revealed new possibilities. With his enhanced understanding of both technology and magic, Xander could now see the fundamental flaws in the Convergence's approach. They were forcing a merger that needed to happen naturally, like his own abilities had. I think I know what they're trying to do, Xander addressed the guild hall. They're attempting to create a permanent bridge between worlds, using the same principles that allow summoning rituals to work. But their method is unstable. If they succeed, it could tear reality apart. The revelation spurred the guild into action. Teams were organized to investigate different aspects of the threat. But Xander and his companions were assigned the most crucial task: infiltrating the Convergence's main facility in the northern mountains. As they prepared for the mission, Xander worked tirelessly in his workshop, pushing Heaven's Bounty to its limits. The items he created now showed unprecedented complexity. Heaven's Bounty has created an integrated equipment set. Reality Anchor Harness maintains stability in areas of dimensional flux. Phase Shift Modules allows brief immunity to enhanced weapons. Resonance Tracking Array detects and analyzes dimensional anomalies. But the preparations were interrupted by an unexpected visitor, another otherworlder, barely alive, who had escaped from the Convergence's facility. Before succumbing to their injuries, they shared crucial information. The Convergence had found a way to extract and store the unique abilities of otherworlders. The implications hit Xander hard. They weren't just experimenting with combining magic and technology, they were harvesting the natural fusion that occurred in summoned individuals like himself. His status window reflected his growing understanding. Title earned: Dimensional Insight. Effect: enhanced understanding of cross-world phenomena. Warning: multiple hostile scanning attempts detected. The race against time had begun. The Convergence had to be stopped before they could perfect their extraction process and force a catastrophic merger of worlds. But as Xander looked at his teammates, now equipped with his most advanced creations yet, he felt a glimmer of hope. Whatever happens, Frey said, adjusting her enhanced bow, we face it together. Atrax nodded, his staff humming with contained power. The Convergence thinks they can force these powers to work together. We'll show them what true harmony between magic and technology looks like. As they prepared to depart, Xander received one final notification. System alert, approaching critical event horizon. All classes entering emergency advancement state. Heaven's bounty preparing for full manifestation. The true test of everything Xander had learned since arriving in this world was about to begin. The fate of not just one world, but potentially many, would depend on what happened next. Convergence rising. The journey to the northern mountains revealed the full scope of the Convergence's influence. Villages they passed through showed signs of their experimentation, failed enhanced creatures locked in containment, strange technological devices fused with magical crystals, and deeply unsettling hybrid architectures that seemed to defy physical laws. "They're not even trying to hide anymore," Graphus observed, his enhanced shield humming as it detected nearby anomalies. "They're too close to their goal to care about secrecy." Xander's status window had been constantly active during their journey, warning of increasing dimensional instability. Alert, dimensional friction detected. Multiple reality layers experiencing overlap. Heaven's bounty entering emergency adaptation mode. The ability that had served him so well was evolving rapidly in response to the crisis. Each new creation showed signs of addressing the growing dimensional instability. Heaven's bounty has created emergency response items. Reality anchoring beacons, creates zones of stable spacetime. Quantum lock generators, prevents unauthorized dimensional manipulation. Harmonic stabilization matrix, maintains proper separation between magical and technological energies. But it wasn't just his ability that was changing. Xander himself was experiencing strange moments of insight, as if he could see the underlying structure of reality itself. His classes were responding to the dimensional stress in unexpected ways. Class evolution alert. Artificer Quantum Artificer, Level 12. Engineer Reality Engineer, Level 10. Demolitionist Chaos Control Specialist, Level 8. The Convergence doesn't understand what they're dealing with, Xander explained to his companions as they made camp one night. They think they can force different realities to merge by brute force, but reality doesn't work that way. It's like trying to force two puzzle pieces together that don't match, you'll only end up breaking both. Atrax, who had been studying the energy patterns around them with his enhanced staff, nodded grimly. The magical wavelengths are becoming erratic. It's as if the very fabric of our world is starting to fray. Their first real confrontation with Convergence forces came at dawn. Enhanced soldiers, their bodies twisted by crude attempts at technological augmentation, attacked their camp. The battle that followed demonstrated just how far Xander's team had come. Combat analysis activated. Team synergy at maximum efficiency. Heaven's bounty entering combat support mode. Graphus's shield techniques, amplified by his enhanced equipment, created impenetrable zones of protection. Frey's ethereal arrows found weak points in the enhanced armor with impossible precision. Atrax's spells, focused through his staff, contained and neutralized the unstable energy signatures of their opponents. And Xander. Xander found himself operating on a level he hadn't thought possible. Heaven's bounty was responding to the battle in real time, creating and modifying equipment on the fly. Emergency combat creations activated. Dimensional anchor points, prevents enemy phase shifting. Reality stabilization fields, neutralizes unstable enhancements. Harmonic disruption waves, disables forced technological magical fusion. The victory came at a cost, however. The captured Convergence soldiers were living proof of the organization's disregard for human life. Their bodies were breaking down, the forced fusion of technology and magic literally tearing them apart from the inside. "This is barbaric," Frey whispered, examining the remains. "They're sacrificing their own people for these experiments." But the prisoners also provided crucial intelligence. The Convergence's main facility wasn't just a research center, it was built around an ancient summoning circle, one far more powerful than the one that had brought Xander to this world. Knowledge integration complete. New understanding, ancient summoning arrays. Warning, critical mass approaching. Their plan became clear. The convergence wasn't just trying to merge technology and magic, they were attempting to force multiple worlds to collide, believing they could control the resulting chaos and harvest its power. The instability we're seeing now is just the beginning, Xander realized. If they activate that summoning circle at full power, the worlds won't merge, Atrax finished. They'll shatter. As they approached the mountain facility, Xander's status window displayed one final, chilling warning. Reality breach detected. Multiple dimensional collapse points forming. Time to critical event, 48 hours. The team made camp one last time, knowing that tomorrow would bring them face to face with the Convergence's leadership. As they prepared their equipment and reviewed their plans, Xander worked through the night, Heaven's Bounty pushing its limits to create their final line of defense. Heaven's Bounty has created Ultimate Defense System. Reality Preservation Matrix maintains dimensional integrity. Quantum Stabilization Network prevents unauthorized reality manipulation. Harmonic Convergence Neutralizer safely dissipates forced fusion energy. Whatever happens tomorrow, Xander addressed his team, we're the only ones who understand the true scope of this threat. We're the only ones who can stop it. The others nodded, their enhanced equipment humming in resonance with the growing dimensional disturbance. They had come so far from their first mission together, and now they faced a challenge that would determine the fate of not just their world, but countless others. As night fell, Xander received one final notification. Title earned, Reality's Guardian. Effect, enhanced ability to maintain dimensional stability. Warning, multiple reality streams approaching convergence point. Tomorrow would bring either their greatest victory or the end of everything they knew. There would be no middle ground. Reality's edge. The Convergence's mountain facility rose before them like a twisted monument to technological and magical excess. Its walls were a jarring fusion of ancient stone and advanced metals, with streams of unstable magical energy coursing through crystalline conduits. The very air around it shimmered with dimensional distortion. Reality integrity, critical. Multiple dimension breach points detected. Heaven's Bounty entering final evolution state. As they approached, Xander's abilities underwent their final transformation. Heaven's Bounty wasn't just creating items anymore, it was actively reshaping reality around them to maintain stability. Heaven's Bounty has ascended to Universal Artificer. New capability, reality engineering. Warning, power draw approaching theoretical limits. This is it, Xander said, watching as reality itself seemed to bend around their defensive perimeter. Everything we've learned, everything we've become, it all leads to this moment. Their infiltration of the facility revealed the true horror of the Convergence's work. Hundreds of failed experiments lined the halls, twisted combinations of flesh, metal, and magical energy. But worse were the successful ones, beings that existed in multiple realities simultaneously, their very existence threatening to tear apart the fabric of spacetime. Multiple reality signatures detected. Dimensional bleed effect, critical. Emergency protocol activated. The team moved with practiced precision. Graphica's enhanced shield created zones of stable reality around them. Frey's ethereal arrows could now strike targets across dimensional boundaries. Atrax's spells, channeled through his staff, contained and neutralized reality breaches. But it was Xander's evolved abilities that proved most crucial. Heaven's Bounty had become something far beyond its original purpose. Universal Artificer has created reality maintenance systems. Dimensional seal arrays, contains and repairs reality breaches. Quantum harmonic stabilizers, prevents unauthorized dimensional mixing. Universal constants enforcement grid, maintains proper physical laws. They fought their way through waves of enhanced guards and unstable experiments, finally reaching the central chamber. There, they found the source of the dimensional disturbance, an ancient summoning circle, magnified and modified with technological enhancements, spreading across the entire floor. And standing before it was the leader of the convergence, a figure Xander recognized from his own world. Professor Chang. Xander's shock was palpable. You were behind this? The woman who had once been his mentor at the research facility smiled, her body now a perfect fusion of magical and technological enhancement. Ah, Xander. I wondered if you'd make it this far. You always were my brightest student. The explosion at the lab, Xander realized. You orchestrated everything. My arrival here wasn't an accident. Of course not, Chang replied, her voice resonating across multiple realities simultaneously. I needed someone who could understand both sides of the equation. Your heaven's bounty was the proof of concept, that technology and magic could be perfectly merged. Now, we'll apply that on a universal scale. The summoning circle began to pulse with energy, reality itself groaning under the strain. Critical alert, universal collapse imminent. Multiple reality streams converging. Heaven's bounty preparing final countermeasure. You don't understand what you're doing, Xander pleaded. Perfect fusion can't be forced. Heaven's bounty works because it respects the natural laws of both systems. What you're attempting will destroy everything. Sometimes, Chang responded, her form flickering between realities, destruction is necessary for evolution. The battle that followed transcended normal combat. Chang's enhanced form could exist in multiple realities at once, making her nearly impossible to hit. But Xander's team had evolved too. Graphice's shield techniques created anchors in reality itself, forcing Chang to remain in one dimension. Frey's arrows traced paths through dimensional space, striking at the very core of Chang's enhanced being. Atrax's spells contained and redirected the wild energies threatening to tear reality apart. And Xander. Xander finally understood the true purpose of Heaven's bounty. It wasn't just about creating items or fusing technology with magic. It was about maintaining balance, the delicate equilibrium between different forces of reality. Heaven's bounty has activated ultimate protocol, universal harmony. Effect, natural alignment of all reality streams. Warning, process will consume all available energy. As Chang's enhanced form began to destabilize, Xander made his final move. Heaven's bounty responded to his understanding, creating not a weapon, but a solution. Final creation, universal stabilization matrix. Purpose, permanent reality stream separation and stabilization. Cost, all current enhancement effects will be neutralized. No! Chang screamed, realizing what this meant. You'll undo everything we've achieved. I'm preserving everything, Xander corrected, as the matrix activated. Just not in the way you intended. The universal stabilization matrix expanded outward, its effect rippling across dimensions. Throughout the facility, forced fusions began to separate naturally. The unstable experiments found peace as their enhanced components gently dissolved. The ancient summoning circle powered down, its energies safely dispersed. Reality stabilization, in progress. Dimensional integrity, restoring. Natural laws, re-establishing. Chang's enhanced form began to fade, the forced fusion of technology and magic gently unwinding. In her final moments, she looked at Xander with something like understanding. Perhaps you were right about balance. As the matrix completed its work, Xander's status window displayed its final message. Title earned, Universal Harmonizer. Effect, permanent ability to maintain dimensional stability. All forced enhancements have been neutralized. Natural fusion processes preserved. In the aftermath, as guild forces secured the facility, Xander looked at his teammates, his friends. Their enhanced equipment had returned to its basic form, but the bonds they had formed transcended any magical or technological enhancement. So, Graphice said, breaking the silence. What's next for the world's only universal harmonizer? Xander smiled, feeling heaven's bounty humming contentedly within him, now permanently attuned to maintaining the natural balance between worlds. I think, he said, it's time to show people how to build bridges between worlds the right way. His status window flickered one last time. New quest available, Harmony's Path. Objective: guide the natural evolution of cross-world understanding. Reward: a future where technology and magic coexist in perfect balance. As they left the mountain facility, Xander knew this wasn't an ending, but a new beginning. The worlds would continue to interact, but now they had someone who could ensure that interaction remained in harmony with the natural order of things. And he wouldn't be doing it alone. His team, his family in this new world, would be right there with him, facing whatever challenges came next with the same unity and determination that had brought them through this crisis. The sun rose over the mountains, casting long shadows behind them as they began their journey back to Klimp. There was still work to be done, but for the first time since arriving in this world, Xander felt truly at home. After all, home wasn't about which world you were in, it was about the people you chose to share it with.